Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk about bones of skull, and here at the side you can see the diagrammatic representation or schematic representation of skull in different colors, and each color represents different bone. So let's start the topic with introduction. Human skull is complex structure composed of 22 bones that serves to protect the brain, support facial features and enable functions such as chewing and speaking. These bones are categorized into cranial bones and facial bones. The cranial bones primarily shield the brain while the facial bones contribute to facial structure and function. Now let's talk about bones of skull that are divided into two categories, that are cranial bone category and facial bone category. Now let's talk about them one by one. First we will talk about the cranial bones. In cranial bone, first bone we have is frontal bone that forms the forehead and the upper part of eye socket. Here you can see in the diagram the anterior bone that is to some extent pink in color. It is the frontal bone. It plays a crucial role in facial structure and protecting the brain's frontal lobe. Next bone we have is parietal bone. Here you can see in the skull the blue color bone that cover the most portion of the skull is the parietal bone, and it is positioned on either side of skull, contributing to the dome shape of cranium and provide protection to brain's upper region. At the base of skull you can see the occipital bone that is pink in color, and it contains foramen magnum, the opening through which the spinal cord connects to the brain. Further talking about cranial bones, we have temporal bone. Here you can see in the diagram the yellow color bone is temporal bone. It is located on the sides of skull. As you can see there, it houses the auditory structures necessary for hearing and balance. Next bone is sphenoid bone that is located just anterior to the temporal bone. Here you can see in the diagram the purple color bone just anterior to the yellow color bone is sphenoid bone. It often referred to as the keystone of skull. It connects multiple bones and contains the sala turcica, which holds the pituitary gland. Next bone we have is ethmoid bone, that is a delicate structure involved in formation of nasal cavity and sense of smell, as it houses the cribriform plate through which olfactory nerve passes. Now let's talk about the second category of the skull bone, that is the facial bone. In facial bone we have is the maxilla. The orange color bone here you can see in the diagram is maxilla. It forms the upper jaw that is essential for facial integrity and support the upper teeth. The second bone you can see is the mandible. The pink color bone that forms the lower jaw is the mandible. It's the only movable bone of the skull that enable crucial functions like chewing and speaking. Next we have is zygomatic bone. Here you can see in diagram the green color bone that forms the cheek is zygomatic bone. It is commonly known as cheekbone. It contributes to the facial contour and assists in formation of eye socket. Further in facial bone we have nasal bone. Here you can see the purple color bone just anterior portion of the skull is the nasal bone that forms bridge of nose and support the nasal structure. While the lacrimal bone, here you can see the green color bone in the eye socket. It is the lacrimal bone. It helps host the tear duct that facilitate tear drainage. Next we have is palatine bone that play a significant role in forming the hard palate, contributing to the separation of nasal and oral cavities. Next we have is inferior nasal conchae that assist in regulating airflow within the nasal passages, thus enhancing respiratory efficiency. Next we have is vomer that forms the lower part of the nasal septum, playing a role in dividing the nasal cavity. Now let's talk about functional importance of the skull bones. Each bone has their own importance, and now we will talk about them. As we know, each skull bone has distinct functions essential for protecting the brain, shaping the face, and facilitating sensory and mechanical function. So the first functional importance of bone we are going to talk about is frontal bone that contributes to the facial expression and structural integrity, while the parietal bone helps in protection of the brain that forms the dome-shaped structure around the brain. Next we have is occipital bone that ensures secure communication between brain and spinal cord. And next we have is temporal bone that enable hearing and balance that are crucial for daily interactions and movements. Next we have a sphenoid bone that is vital for structural support, forming connection with several skull bone, while we have ethmoid bone that play a key role in olfactory function. Then we have maxilla and mandible that are central to chewing and speaking. Then zygomatic bone that shape facial contour and assist in eye protection, while nasal and lacrimal bone that support respiration and tear drainage. Then we have palatine bone, inferior nasal conchae and vomer that enhance airflow and nasal function, contributing to the efficient breathing. Now let's talk about conclusion of our this lecture video. Skull bones are intricately structured to protect the brain, shape the face, and enable crucial functions like chewing, speaking, and sensory processing. Each bone plays a distinct role in human anatomy, highlighting the skull importance in daily life and medical application. And this was all about the skull bones. Hopefully you liked the video. If you do, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Thank you for watching.